Hello and welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up. My name is Margaret Staudter. I'm the Registrar and Site Archaeologist here at Fort Ticonderoga. And for today's episode, we are going to be looking at some pieces from our ammunition collection. Now, Fort Ticonderoga was used by three different military powers in the 18th century, the French, British, and Continental forces. And during their time at Fort Ticonderoga, they amassed a large collection of ammunition that then became part of our archaeological record. Today, we have over 15,000 individual pieces in our museum. So before me here, I have a few different varieties of shot from our ammunition collection. They vary in weight, they vary in size, and we also have two different types of material. They would have been used in different ordnance, from cannons to howitzers to mortars to different size firearms. Now, the first of these pieces of shot are coming to the site in 1755 with the French when they begin to build Fort Carillon, which is then later named Fort Ticonderoga. A 1757 inventory from the French lists over 8,000 cannonballs in stores here, as well as 45,000 pounds of gunpowder and 37,000 pounds of lead that would be melted down to make shot or ball. Now, within our museum collection of ammunition, we have over 8,000 individual pieces of lead shot or musket balls, and they come in different caliber sizes. Now, the smallest size shot we have of lead shot are these buckshot pieces. They're very small. They would have been put into a cartridge, a few of these, sometimes with a musket ball, and then when they're shot out from their firearm is causing a very deadly spread against the advancing enemy. So these are very small in nature. The caliber size goes up from there. The two larger categories of caliber size that we have, the second of the largest being around .65, .69 for your French infantry muskets and a few different variety of other firearms, but the largest concentration of caliber size that we have in our collection is around .70, and then this is your British and American arms. So there's definitely a variety, but the size difference between these is quite significant. So you have your buckshot and then our largest size musket ball. Now, musket balls are made out of lead. Lead has a very low melting temperature, so these would be made on site and they'd be molded from pouring lead right into a mold and then popped right out. Now, the iron shot that we have in our collection definitely varies in size and weight, the smallest of which is grape shot. We have a 1.5 ounce grape shot piece here. These would be put into a canvas bag and shot out of a cannon or a piece of ordnance. So you'd have multiple of these in a canvas bag. And these also would have been made in a mold similar to the musket balls. So this is 1.5 ounces. This 4-ounce piece has a wonderful mold seam on it. And also, when the melted iron was being put into the mold, had come out the top. So from where the sprue is, we still have a little stub there. This piece is 13 ounces, so you can see that there is definitely a variety in size. They can get pretty large, but again, multiples of these could be put into a canvas bag and shot out of a piece of ordnance. Now, before we get into our cannonballs, I do have this hand grenade here. So this looks like a 4-pound cannonball, but it's actually a hand grenade, and it's been cast to have a hollow center or a channel going into the middle where you would fill it with gunpowder and then put a fuse in, and when it's lit and throw it at the enemy, it's going to explode. Now, some of our pieces also are cast with marks to denote it as part of a certain nation or property of a certain nation. In this case, this 4-pound cannonball has a fleur-de-lis cast into it, so this denotes it as French property, as French ordnance. This 6-pound cannonball here has a British broad arrow that's been cast into it, so this is British property or British ordnance. Now, the cannonball sizes can go up from there. The largest one I have on the table is a 18-pounder here. This is an 18-pound cannonball. The largest size of cannon that was used on the property was a 32-pounder during American occupation in 1776 to 1777, and that would have then used a 32-pound cannonball. Now, we also have howitzer shells here in our collection. This is a 5.5-inch howitzer shell. They are hollow on the inside, very similar to the hand grenade. They would be filled with gunpowder and a fuse would be put into it. They would then be loaded into a howitzer. The fuse would be lit on the shell, and then the howitzer would be lit. So this would be projected out as the fuse is going down. And then once this gets close to the enemy, it's going to be exploding, and pieces of iron will be going everywhere. Now, howitzers are on the lighter side, so they're able to be moved a little bit more easily than our mortars. Now, mortars can vary also in size. The largest of which we have on the property is around 13 inches. Most famously, the French have 13-inch mortars inside the fort when Geoffrey Amherst is sieging with the British Army outside of the fort walls, and the French are lobbing these large 13-inch mortars at the British Army. They're going to be, again, exploding similar to the howitzer shells over the army and raining down these large pieces of hot iron. This one, in terms of the remnants of mortar shells that we have in our collection of 13-inch mortar shells, this is by far the largest chunk that we have, and it's a great example because you can see that it's hollow. So similar to the howitzer shell, these are being filled with gunpowder. They're going to have a fuse put into them. The fuse will be lit, and then the mortar will be lit. And we have a few examples as well from our archaeological collection here, where you can see a handle has been cast in with the mortar shell. And because when you fill these with gunpowder, just the thickness of these mortar shells, they can weigh up to 200 pounds. So sometimes they would need to be lifted with these handles into the mortars. And this is a great example because you can also see the fuse hole has been cast into this piece. Now, these are our circular pieces of shot, but we also have bar shot in our collection. This one here being around 10 pounds, and they can get even larger from that. This piece is probably around 20 pounds or so, and these were really great for taking down rigging and masts on ships. So when this is shot out of a cannon, it's going to project and spin through the air and can be very, very destructive. Now, all these pieces of shot have been added to our Ticonderoga online collections database, so you can go on and look at photos and learn more information about these pieces of shot. And if you're interested in learning more about our virtual programs, please visit the Center for Digital History page on our website at www.fortticonderoga.org. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.